Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm excited for this one today. This is one of the video ideas that I had early on, right when I decided to start this channel, and so it's exciting that we get to sit down and do this together. Today we are going to talk through my 10 tips for how to build a really good registry, and then the fun part is we are actually going to tour my registry. So I'm going to pull it up, we're going to walk through it line by line and talk about why I pick things, maybe some things that I intentionally didn't include, and just some fun things about the way that I've been able to set up my registry. Before we get started, I want to talk through a few tips about how to build a really good registry. So the first one, and the one that I'm most grateful that I did early on, is start a list early. I think I had started a registry list of things that I knew I wanted to wait to purchase or invest in, potentially before my fiance and I even started dating. I think I just had this in my mind, things that I knew that made sense for me to wait to invest in. The key example of that is really good luggage. I borrowed my parents' luggage for years, knowing that I probably was gonna put that on my registry, and so it didn't really make sense for me to invest in that now. Tip number 2 is exactly what you're doing, so you're already ahead. Look for inspiration everywhere. Look at your friends' registries, ask people that have already gotten married, things that they are really glad they put on their registry. Watch videos like this for inspiration ideas. There's thousands of links and things you could Google online of people making big, long checklists of all the things to include in your registry. So get inspiration all over the place. Nothing will be copy paste, but getting inspiration from other people's registries is always a really good idea. Another piece of advice I have for tip number 3 is use a group registry or a collective registry. So it is totally good and actually recommended, in my opinion, to register at a few places. We registered at Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, but RIP, and Amazon, and had considered registering in a couple of other places for some really niche items. But for a wedding guest's ease of use, having a single website that groups all of your registries together, in my opinion, is a must-do. So we use Zola, and that is our whole wedding website, RSVP, location, all of the things. And that's worked really well for us. I would recommend it to anybody that was looking. Oh, I'm not wearing my ring. I'm gonna do that. Can't film a video on engagement not having your engagement ring on, so anyway, sorted. Number 4 is be realistic. Gather all of your ideas, get all of the opinions and kind of insights and checklists and all the things, but actually look at what you will use. Look at things that suit your lifestyle, suit your hobbies, and then start to be more realistic about what actually are my important things. What are the things that I'm going to want in a future kitchen, want in a future home, want in a future hobby, that sort of thing. The other side of being realistic that I think is important to note is be realistic on prices too. Yes, this is the time to get the higher quality things because people want to buy you things that will last you a while. Now is not the time to register for that $300 can opener. It's cool, it's electric, it's splashy, but just know that people probably have in their minds the amount of money they're gonna spend on your wedding. And so if you put really high priced goods, you probably will get some of those, but that does mean you're gonna get less of other things. This comes back to, being intentional about the things that's important to you. It's okay to have splurge items on there. You'll see that I have a couple, but be realistic and be intentional about the things that are really important to splurge on versus having some more reasonable price pointed items and kind of mix it in. All right, that brings us to number 5, which is vary your price points. There's going to be things on your website that are on the higher end of things, and you can have those be higher end, or you can create group gifts where people can contribute to one really high dollar value item. But also it's nice to throw in a couple of other things too. So you really should have a range. Having the variation, I personally think, ends up happening pretty naturally. But if you do find that all of your items are $100 or whatever, even $50 or more, it might be nice to throw in a couple of smaller things as well. All right, tip number 6, and my fiance is gonna laugh at this one when he watches this, but reviews. Do your research. And research can be online. I did a ton of the early development of my registry online. Most of the things that you want to get yes, you can go to a store and physically see, that's great, but you're not gonna get reviews. You're probably not getting as big of a selection as you could if you were looking online. And you might just be a little bit clouded to the wear of something or other people's experiences. So I highly recommend doing most of your registry shopping online and then afterwards going out and actually seeing things in person. For my fiance and I, that was our linens. We wanted to go feel the towels. We wanted to feel our sheets because there's things that are tactile enough that you really want to see that in person as much as you can. Other things that were important for me were some of my foundational pieces. So my new place setting set, I really wanted to see in person. It was one of the biggest investments because you get so many place settings and it's something you're gonna use every single day. So I didn't want to guess on that one. I actually purchased myself a place setting off of my registry so I could hold it and feel it and see the color in my space, and actually ended up changing tones. So there were two different tones. One was maybe creamier on the warmer side, and I thought I would want that because my home has a lot of creams in it. But once it was in my space, it looked really yellow. It wasn't kind of the nice cream that's so popular right now. So I ended up going with another one that was more on the cool tone white, and when I ordered that, it really just felt natural in my space. It didn't feel blue in the way that it looked online, and so I'm so grateful that I ordered them in and actually interacted with them in the way that would show how something would actually appear in my space, instead of getting all 9 place settings and then all of a sudden having all this that I had to return at the end. Tip number 7 is prioritize your asks. So you will see this in my website as well. I have a full registry, but I wouldn't say it's that, wedding guest times 2.5 rule that a lot of people use for registries or you'll see online. And the reason for that is there are plenty of nice to have things that I could put on my registry, but I have a really foundational amount of things that I feel like are my most wanted things. And so if I were to put everything on the registry right away, it wouldn't be shocking if I got a bunch of the things that maybe weren't so critical to me and maybe less of the things that I really did feel were important. So instead, I have a really great registry, but then I also have a wish list, maybe you could call it, of things in my various accounts where if I start to feel like my registry is getting slim, I can add those fun things back on, no problem. That way it kind of guides people to the things that are the most important to me. All right, tip number 8, only 2 more to go. So tip number 8 is to review your registry relatively frequently. I review my registry probably every week or every other week, and that's because, like we kind of talked about before, things go out of stock, or maybe I remember something that I hadn't included before. I've gone through and kind of cleaned up over time as well. Okay, tip number 9 is be creative. And maybe I could coin this as be yourself. There are gonna be things that really suit one type of couple that are not gonna suit the other. I am not the most campy person, but there are some people that are going to have almost an entire registry of camping things, and that's amazing. Now's the time. So I would just say be creative, add things about your hobbies, add essentially anything in your home that you could think of. You'll see a couple of maybe silly things or non-traditional things on my registry as well, but this is the biggest Christmas list you'll ever create. So as long as they're not inappropriate and they match all the other things we already talked about pricing and whatnot, fine tune your registry to you. It doesn't have to be just kitchen gadgets. You can have fun, you can have things on there that are unique to you, your hobbies, things around your home that you might need. Think about what you need now, but also think about what you're gonna need a couple years from now. Are you planning to move? Are you hoping to host more once you're married? Things like that. Try to think about what that life might need as well, and then that can give you some inspiration too. Tip number 10 before we go on our tour is have fun. This is an opportunity to dream and to look at pretty things and get excited about all the fun ways that you get to use all of your new things with your partner in your new life. So enjoy it. Allow yourself to enjoy it. Don't get stressed about it. Take your time. Bring your partner along. Do it together. I think you guys will have a lot of fun. All right. It's time. Now we just get to have fun and look through all of my pretty things. I'm excited. All right, so you're currently looking at the back end of my Zola page. So this is where I, as the bride, am able to go in and make changes, add things, add notes, all that. So I'll walk you through it, and then maybe at the end I'll show you our wedding website just for fun. All right, so across the top are things that are your first highest priority. So they're things that people are gonna see first. They're gonna be the things that are likely your most wanted or the most static pieces of your registry. So as you'll see on here, we have our featured fund. This is a really normal thing to have, just kind of a honeymoon fund. So pop that up in the top corner. I think it's fun to have something that a cash gift goes to. So cash gifts are super normal and people like the ease of them, which is great, but it's kind of, I feel like it's boring to just have a big cash pot. So you'll see we have 3 cash gifts at varying quantities. The primary one is our honeymoon fund, but we're specifically calling out our tickets to France, which is where our honeymoon's going to be. More on that another time. But that's our fund. It's for people that really love cash, but just set that up, kind of set it and forget it type of fund. So next are our place settings. So they're actually on sale right now, but they are our Casafina 4-piece place settings. Honestly, they're beautiful. One of the things that I've been very excited about and honestly waiting for, and just instead of just going out and buying them now, is the plate bowls. I don't know if everybody loves them as much as I do, but it's just the perfect dish. So that was a must for me. So we're going to have a large plate, which is just kind of your regular dinner plate. And then I think it's called a salad plate. And then we're also going to get a bread plate. So I'll show you that later, but I'm kind of going for all of it because I just use a bunch of different plate sizes. I end up using the smaller ones more frequently than I use the big ones. And I just feel like if it's something that you're gonna have for a really long time, you might as well just get the whole set and just have them, and then you just don't have to worry about trying to find things that match later. So what you'll see is I requested 9. So that is also very intentional. I have a large 8-person table, but I just know that something's gonna break eventually. And so I might as well have a 9th stashed away in the basement. So when one of the plates break, it's not the end of the world. I can still set up my full 8-person table. So I would highly recommend that as well. All right, so from there is Jonathan's most wanted gift. So what's kind of fun is you can hover over and see that. So that's listed up on our most wanted, and it's the Blackstone tabletop griddle. The Blackstone is something that he's talked about for ages. So that was an easy add to our registry. From there is our luggage. So I am very grateful that someone has actually already bought the other carry-on, and so I've replaced the most wanted with this one, and as they get purchased, I'm going to continue putting the luggage up there because to me, that and the dishes are what I would consider to be the primary thing that I would really love to be gifted. So above anything else, that's the most useful and on the pricier end. So I kind of want to make sure we're directing people towards that if someone's looking for something to get. So that's on there as well. This is a group gift. So this is an example of a group gift. You can contribute $1, you can contribute the whole thing. So that is all in there. All right. Next one is my dream wedding gift. So this is a Le Creuset Dutch oven. It's the 7.5 quart size. So it's a big round in the meringue color. It took me a very long time to decide what color I was going to choose. I still sit on the fence with it, but the reason this is my dream gift is it's something you have forever. My mom still has my grandma's, or maybe even her grandma's, Le Creuset Dutch oven. They last forever if you take care of them. I cook all the time and I meal prep a lot. So even with a family of 2, I'm going to fill that 7.5 quart Dutch oven. So it is easily the priciest thing on our registry. And even if we get half that in group gifts and we supplement the rest, it is something that I've always wanted to get for my wedding as something that I look at 20 years from now and say, I got that at my wedding. So I'm excited about that. From there, these are some utility things. So these are things that I have never really done like the full investment of. I have just either kind of mismatched college ones or just don't have entirely. So really good mixing bowls, I feel like, is a must. I don't have a spoon rest, and this little ruffle one is just so cute, so I had to include that one on here. I don't really have any trivets, so threw a couple of those on there as well. My home is brass. Pretty much everything in my home is brass, and so I did splurge as well and add a little brass knob for my Dutch oven. More trivets, a mini mortar and pestle. This is an example of something that is not a need, but I didn't have many of the kind of the smaller price point items, and every once in a while you kind of want something like that, so I added that. I have a couple serving dishes in here. I have this platter as well as these two-piece kind of wood ceramic serving dishes. So I don't really have a ton of serving dishes right now. I don't plan on using them a ton unless we're hosting, so I didn't really want to put a ton on there, but I did feel as though having a couple was nice. Our steak knives, this was a big Jonathan ask. We included that because we wanted to have something a little bit more special than just our standard knife set, and so it was just kind of a fun thing to add. I am still using my mom's old, so like one pot pan set ago, pots and pans, so it's time to upgrade into something a little nicer. You'll actually see that I have two on here right now because this one is, I think, gonna be discontinued at Bath & Body Works, or gosh, Bed Bath & Beyond. Does anybody else do that all the time? So anyway, I think I'm gonna have to remove that one, so I added a new one, but I'm giving it another few days just to see. Okay, we have come to my other cash fund. So this is a French cooking class. Again, if someone wants to be able to buy us something fun, we thought that it would be cute to do kind of honeymoon activity. So we have cooking class is something I love doing when traveling, so thought this would be kind of a fun one. All right, so some other very standard things, matching Tupperware, storage. I love cooking, so again, cookbook, glassware. These are gonna be probably your most traditional registry items, so continuing to kind of skim through those. Wooden spoon and spatula, again, I have my mom's hand-me-down, so it's probably more sanitary if I probably update those. Can opener, pot and pan holders. Many of the things I have in my kitchen I've used for either a while or they've just been collected or hand-me-downs over time, so they're mismatched colors and whatnot. So I'm using this opportunity to kind of go a little bit more neutral so that I can have fun pops of color with things that are maybe trendier pieces, but the essence of the things I'm using are going to be much more neutral, like my dish set. Some really good baking sheets and cutting boards, again, really classic, kind of basic, foundational, great kitchen things. Pyrex, of course. If you don't have a Pyrex measuring cup on your website, are you even a cook? So anyway, some of that's in there. Coming up, I've got some organization. So in my registry, I've intentionally organized it. Some registries will auto organize according to kitchen things and home things. I haven't found Zola to be amazing at that, to be honest, so I've done a lot of my own organization, but it's not perfect. It's just kind of general categories. So next we're moving on to storage, so baskets and bins for our pantry and bathroom. Really easy stuff, but really nice to have. So included those, spice organization, that sort of thing. This is the last of our cash gifts. Dinner in Paris for two. Just thought that would be fun. Okay, so again, looking for that range of price points. The ball reusable tops for mason jars, incredible. If you don't have them, I would encourage you to add them to your registry because the other ones rust and are just, I don't find as sanitary, so highly recommend those. Need a new toaster, kettle, again, really basic stuff here. Okay, one of my, what I would say, creative ads is this sheet-fed scanner. So this is one of those adulting things that I would find really convenient and just assume that I would use all the time, which is being able to scan paperwork, and then you don't have to keep paper and it all lives on your computer in these really nice PDFs. So I've grown up seeing my parents have files and files of paperwork from taxes 10 years ago. I don't want to do that. so I included one of those on there, even though it's a bit unconventional. All right, moving through here, just some fun stuff, some romantic things. Got a, you know, dinner in or breakfast in bed tray, that sort of thing, kind of fun. Okay, moving on to bedding. This has been challenging, I'll be honest. We chose a bunch of different bedding at Bed Bath & Beyond, unfortunately, so had to re-choose that. And then maybe people are just especially picky on bedding, but like I mentioned, I spend a lot of time on reviews. The reviews for bedding are critical. I had a hard time finding ones that I felt really confident in that I couldn't go and feel, other than maybe a few that were at Target. So these are gonna be gambles, but you can always return things. And what's really nice about Zola is they have a really extended return policy. So even if someone were to buy something 6 months before my wedding, I still have, I think, 60 to 90 days after the wedding to return it, which is really nice. So I do appreciate that. Another tip I hear all the time with people that have gotten married already is put more linens, more bedding on your registry than you think you need. You will go through it. It's nice to have backups, and you have guest rooms and all those things. So I have a decent amount. I think I have 3 different sheet sets, 2 duvet sets. I think we have 2 or 3 towel sets. So there's a decent amount on here. Jonathan and I decided to upgrade to a king when we get married, and so we're essentially starting from scratch. We don't have anything. We haven't bought a mattress or a bed or anything like that. So all of the things that I already have for my queen will become our guest room sheets, but I don't really have super matching towels and all of those things, and neither does he. So we figured that would be something that would be nice to really kind of double down on and just start really fresh, which is a good idea. Moving on, I have a couple hosty things more in the linens category. Again, really good neutrals, so I can throw fun placemats or table runners or even like dishes that I thrift in different colors into something versus starting from scratch with a really bright or busy tablecloth, that sort of thing. So golds, creams, whites, hard to go wrong. Another thing to think about when you think about a registry is frames. You're about to have this beautiful day and spend all sorts of money on a photographer. And I have a lot of friends that haven't framed and hung any of their wedding photography. And so I wanted to plan for a really beautiful gallery wall somewhere in our home where we can hang and enjoy our photos from our wedding. And so I actually went through, I found a layout of frames and selected frames from different companies, I think. Oh, these are all from Target, but I do have a couple others that were in different sizes and would lay really well. And gallery walls can be expensive with frames, so I thought that would be a nice add to the registry. We are now moving on to my outdoorsy, camping, fun section. So we've gone through all of kind of the classic kitchen home things. Now we're getting into more of the outdoorsy things, grilling, beach stuff, games. So we have a trimmer. Again, this is like, you might as well just throw things on there. If no one buys something from your registry, you still get a 20% discount at the end, which is amazing. So if no one buys something on one of your registries, it's common to get some sort of discount. I think Target and Zola both do a 20% discount. I don't know what Amazon does. I know they do something, but it's something to consider when you're picking out where you're gonna register. Many different companies have different post-wedding registry policies, and so getting ones that have discounts at the end for you to buy the things that you still need even though someone didn't buy them for you is really helpful. So something to consider. So we have games. Cornhole's really big where we live, so it was a good idea for us to add that. I do think that there's some people that enjoy doing the more game style gifts versus something that doesn't really feel organic to your friendship, like, you know, one of Jonathan's friends buying him the Pyrex measuring cup, stuff like that. So we did want to make sure there's some fun things on here too. Okay, back to our luggage. We have 2 carry-ons, 2 large luggage, so it's a whole set. And I did add kind of a cheeky little Mr. and Mrs. for our honeymoon, $13, not a big deal. We can use them once and sell them or give them away to the next person that gets married. And then some like real luggage to have for the long term for our tags. So Anyway, just kind of fun. We're getting to the end. So just a collection of the random things. I think it'd be really fun for us to bring a disposable camera on our honeymoon, so I added that on there. And then again, I thought of this literally this week because I was thinking about starting to make some like crafty bits, and my mom has one of these, and that just feels like an adult thing to have that I just don't naturally have. So I added that, a gift card, stuff like that. From there, you can see some of the things that have already been purchased. We have not had any showers yet. Those start in March. And so and from there, we're into the purchase. So we don't have that many things purchased yet. Our showers don't start for a couple weeks and kind of last for a couple weeks. I'm having 3 different showers. So I think it's gonna start ramping up as time goes on, but I will be honest, it is pretty fun to watch things get selected. I always thought that there should be a rule where you're not allowed to look at your registry and see what's being purchased, but in a way it's part of the fun, and we still have the surprise of who bought it, so that adds some mystery to it. But because you have to keep your registry so up to date anyway, it's kind of unavoidable, and it's honestly just kind of exciting. So these are in here. I do laugh though because this little bowl is something that I bought. This is the one where I just bought a single one so I could test it. So that makes me laugh just a little bit. And okay, looking at this is exactly what we talked about. I have a bread plate that's been discontinued, so I'm gonna have to find that sold somewhere else or maybe at a different quantity. And then we have a steamer that's out of stock. So this steamer's been out of stock for a little while, so I will probably end up having to pick another one, but I for sure need to go pick another bread plate. So that's probably what I'm gonna do when I sign off of this video. And that is my registry. I wonder if it tells me how many items I have. I have 101 items on our registry, although some of them are multiples. So for example, our dishes are that. So I would say maybe we have like 150 items on our registry, and we're having 175 guests. So we're definitely going to need to add more items to our registry. But again, for example, we have group gifts, we have cash gifts. You just never know what is gonna end up being purchased. So we'll stick with this. I'll check back after a couple showers, and we can always add back things as we want. But I hope you enjoyed this little tour. I have really enjoyed walking through this with you. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that surprised you, or if you have any ideas that I haven't incorporated into my registry. There's still time, so I would love any feedback. Let's chat about it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and there will be a lot more wedding content to come. So if you like that, or anything around productivity or just home decor, that sort of thing, don't forget to subscribe, and I will be out with a new video every Tuesday. Thanks everyone. Bye.